I used to think that I was going to have to fight every single battle for my child. As a matter of fact, when I learned I had children on the spectrum, I was upset with God. And one of the things I was most upset about was I'm going to have to do a lot of fighting. And I don't know if I'm up to that. I'm tired already. Lord, I don't know if I'm ready for that. And then God had to show me He had already gone before me and made a way. This is part 2 of my video series that I'm calling Grace in the Spectrum. And so today I'm going to be talking about mom guilt and what it's like realizing you have children on the spectrum, and then how do you figure out how to deal with the guilt behind that, right? So this really and truly put on an emotional and a spiritual weight that I just wasn't prepared for. Thank God I have a strong support system, and I have people that are truly a village in my life and in my children's life. But there are a lot of times where I have to say, unless you have 2 children on the spectrum, you have no idea. You literally have no idea. And it's because sometimes it can feel very taxing. You can feel very alone. And one of the first things I realized was, girl, you need therapy. Go to therapy. I was already going through a lot anyway. So we're talking about having children that are on the spectrum on top of everything else you have going on in life, and then blaming yourself, right? Because we don't know exactly the founding causes, right, of children of autism. Then did I take medication? Should I have had children at the age that I did? Did I do anything wrong that could have caused this? Why didn't I see the signs early enough? Anger, isolation. Sometimes, even though I know I just said I had a support system, sometimes feeling like no one really gets it and no one really understands. And this is hard. And I remember people would say to me, well, thank God they got you as a mom. And I just wasn't feeling that. Like, I was not feeling that in the beginning. It took me a minute to get there. And I believe that's okay that it took me a minute to get there. I believe this is the part where truth has to step in. And thank God for therapy, a Christian therapist that really helped me see that, girl, I'm going to need you to remind yourself of what God says and not just what your circumstances are saying. You have to understand that God gave them to you. Children are a gift from God. And if children are a gift from God, then He's going to give you everything you need to support them and to take care of them. And so stop thinking you have to be out here doing it alone. Stop thinking you have to be out here fighting this battle by yourself. That was the realization I had to come to. And when I came to that realization, that is when I started to understand, no, really, God chose me for these children. Now, I'm really grateful that I have these 2 amazing boys, and God gave them to me. And is it easy all the time? No, but it's not easy all the time for any parent. So this just happens to be our walk, right? But it doesn't mean that God didn't intentionally choose me to be able to serve these children. And not only that, but He had been giving me tools that I would need to parent them long before I ever had them, which is how God works intentionally. So thank God. I had to break free from perfectionism and understand that it was okay to just be who we are. So once I realized that, that was one of the ways I was able to stop letting autism hold us hostage. So let me end this video by saying, you're not alone. You have not failed as a parent. You are amazing. And trust God, trust His process, trust His provision. And anything that you need for those children that God has gifted you with, ask Him. Tell Him anything that you need, and He will provide, because that is His promise. All right. Thank you.